It's been over 4 months since I last did a video updating you guys on Battle for Middle-earth Reforged, a team of modders that have come together to take a game that came out over a decade ago and revamp it, redo the textures, redo the gameplay, and create a whole new revival to one of the most popular Lord of the Rings games of the 21st century. But where have they been all this time? What's going on, and have they got anything else to show? Brace yourselves, because boy, you're going to be blown away by what I'm about to show you. Because Battle for Middle-earth Reforged looks incredible. If you haven't already, go and check out my previous video if you want to know all the nitty-gritty details about what this actual game is. But as a quick overview, in 2004, EA released Battle for Middle-earth. It was a Lord of the Rings RTS game that took some inspiration from franchises like Age of Empires, but it took us into Tolkien's world. Orcs, elves, dwarves. It was something new. After the massive success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it was bound to go stratospheric. And it did. But it's been so long, and anyone that plays PC games knows that the games of their childhood are outdated. They mostly don't even run on systems even if you wanted to play them these days. So one team of fans took it onto their mantle. They decided that they wanted to bring back and revive this old classic, but not just make it playable on new machines, expand it. New textures, new animations, new graphics, even new features that have never even been thought of or implemented in an RTS before. Cool things like third-person modes where you're able to go in and control individual troops instead of just units at a time with drag and click mechanics. But with that all out the way, what have we been shown recently? Well, first off, we got some amazing updates on the wargs and the models that they're using to create this monster within the new game. The fur textures look amazing. The way that they move in the wind and react to the animal and the creature as it moves about. Of course, fur is one of the hardest things to get right, but it looks like they're doing a fantastic job. Now, be aware none of this is final stuff. I want to make that clear. The game is still very much in development, but the aim behind it all is to make it as authentic to the films as humanly possible, and they're really pushing that as the forefront of their target. We move on to some details about the buildings and animations. You can see the forge where you make upgrades to weapons and troops looks so refined. They've completely overhauled the way animations work. Not only are they aesthetically smooth and of course moved up to the 4K textures with 60 FPS, but they actually have some physics behind them. You can see the cogs on this blacksmith moving in time with each other, but they're not just separate wheels. They're all changing and affecting each other in terms of rotation speed as it would be in real life. It's just small details like that that don't really have any impact on the overall game, but it just proves that this really is a passion project above anything else. Moving on, we see some elven assets. Now, these are very much still in development, but it seems like the thing that they're trying to showcase at the forefront at this point in time. And wow, just the concept art looks amazing, but when it's translated on screen with models, it is something else. The new buildings, the new weapons, you can see a shield laying against a tree. You can see the weapons ready to be made and to be handed out to the troops as they are created. Talking about troops being created, we look at the barracks, the detail on the barrack buildings, and it seems like they're going to every single building throughout the game and giving them their own unique spice and detail that makes them stand out from the rest. You can see the elven barracks with the troops sliding down the rope as agile and dexterous elves would in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. These are small details that I've never seen in any other game, and these guys aren't even getting paid for it. I mean, look at Barad-dûr. This behemoth of a building took 5 months to make, and this is an incredibly small team. I wouldn't be surprised if there was 1 or 2 people working on this, perfecting every little detail, scouring screenshots, concept art, the films themselves, trying to make it as authentic as they possibly can, whilst keeping it in a level that can still be implemented into a game like this. But we've seen a lot of buildings, we've seen a lot of textures and things to explain what they're doing with that, and it's mind-blowing. But let's take a look at some of the characters. First off, we know they're going to be heroes and villains that you can play throughout the game. Well, it's an RTS, so they'll be able to join your army, but as I said before, you're going to have that third-person mode, where you can go in and click an individual unit and control them. This means there's the possibility to do that with the heroes as well. You can create your own little story as you as Aragorn on the front lines of your army, ready to charge in with the rest of the Gondorian soldiers against the Uruk hordes. But here we get to see Galadriel. Galadriel is one of the most powerful elves in in the story. The way that they've done her costume and her hair, the physics on it all looks fantastic. But it's when it gets to the animations where you start to see the real effort and the real talent behind the creative team here. Galadriel taking this troll and setting him to stone, but it goes further, breaking him apart into 1,000 pieces, just like you would expect from the films, and it feels like you're controlling a powerful villain here. These will all be throughout the game and be controllable and be additions to your army if you choose to go that way. Battle for Middle-earth Reforged is a passion project. Not only is this obviously something that they can't take money for, because of course they don't own the rights to Lord of the Rings or even the title for the game, but you can just tell. You can tell by looking at the gameplay, you can tell by the constant updates that were being brought on their social medias and especially their YouTube channel. And even looking deeper into this, you can tell by the effort of each individual person in that team, doing each individual part and their role within the greater game. I don't think anyone can look at what I have shown you here and say that that bit's wrong, that bit's wrong, that bit's wrong. Each individual detail seems to be sweated over. It seems to be the most important thing to them, and that's how you can tell it's a passion project. And I think it's something that hasn't been done for quite some time. We've seen games and indie developers that have come up from starting as modding teams, but it's different when they're making it for no profit to themselves, just because they want this game. Of course, the game is not only going to have these new textures and assets, but it's also going to be ported to modern PCs. You're going to be able to play it in 4K resolutions and looking at it in a different experience that we never had before when the original came out in 2004. And I might add, the developers seem to be absolutely amazing with taking on constructive criticism and feedback from the community. All the comments from the videos I've seen have been interacted by the developers, and in the videos they've stated how they've taken them on board and actually changed them. Different things like animations or the orcs idle movements. They've all been acknowledged by the developers, and of course, they've gone and changed them. And they've stated that these are being worked on. They mentioned in the last development video that they've seen the request. Everybody wants to see massive battles, and that's what's being worked on at the moment. They've hinted that it's going to be probably between Isengard and the Elves, and it will hopefully be out sometime soon. Yet whatever they do, as long as they keep us updated and they keep this insane work rate up with this incredible amount of detail, I don't think there's going to be any complaints from anybody. But what do you guys think? Is this the next generation of gaming? Are we going to see more modders taking old games and bringing them back to the modern day? Yes, okay, it has to be non-profit, but if they have the time and the passion to do it, we can see how successful it can be. There's always that risk that EA can come in and shut it down straight away. There's always that risk that Lord of the Rings could say they don't want their license on this, be it all free adaptation of their work. Yet that's a risk these developers are willing to take, and because of it, I think they deserve as much support as possible, which is why I'm making these videos and why I'm so excited to talk about it. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. If you didn't, dislike it, but go and support the developers. There'll be a link in the description to their channel. But until then, I will see you in the next one.